Okay, let's get into it. First and foremost, just want to say happy Thanksgiving to you folks because I know we won't be seeing each other tomorrow. So just enjoy the holiday, enjoy the day off. What else? Very excited, for the community that we're building. I've been getting the emails, been getting acts. Don't worry, we're gonna have our own thing very soon. It's in the making. I'm very excited about that. And this morning, right now that we're done with that, this morning a lot of good plays setting up. We're going to be patient. We're going to hold our water. We're not going to jump the gun, but a lot of good plays are setting up pretty much off the pre-market plan. This is 419. Like I said, I want to see a daily candle close above Tesla here. I'm looking for this pullback long off of 419 on Tesla, right off the pre-market plan. So that looks really good. SPY, if we can get a pullback long to the 673, super solid. SPY's not even opening up with that big of a gap. So this looks really good. As time goes on, right, go watch, last Friday's. Oh man, sorry, I didn't even have a trading session up last Friday, but I did put up my weekly recap, and I hope that, you know, these things are starting to make sense. I took, my two shots here, last Friday. What is this, Wednesday? Yeah, so I took my shots here last Friday at this weekly level. Why? Because I knew this was coming. Look at that, right? Want to grow that small account? A plus opportunities only. The trend is your friend, and the dip is what? Your best friend. So risking that much to make that much. So unfortunate. I'm still a little salty over that, but this is what I was looking at. So I really hope that makes sense. So for me, this 673 is such a key level because this is another dip buy. On the daily, I've already showed you that, right? This is another dip buy. So if we can get this super solid, but I'm pretty much open to playing the break and retest off of any key level now on SPY because now we're outside of the channel. We're above 673. We're no longer in a channel. Qs, I told you, this thing sets up again. I'm taking my shot. So last week, right, everything is in that trading recap, but I know this live trading session is up. Took my shot last Thursday. High probability shot. Didn't get it. We ended up holding weekly support. We found support at this 580 on the dot. What did that do? Fuel this move higher. So what are we doing right now? Pre-market. I love that this is acting as resistance. I love that. You can see on the dot acting as resistance. So for me, I'm really looking for this over 612.80. I'm looking for that. I took it last week. I said if it sets up again, looking at it, the trend is your friend. I mean, look at this. We're just trending higher, right? This is a high probability shot, and we'll be outside of a channel. So I'm looking for that on the Qs. NVIDIA. So kind of shocked here how strong this looks. So I'm happy that it's this strong. I'm looking for a break and retest over 184.50. Like I said, anything under 184.50, I'm not touching, but I'm looking for that. Apple, really just looking for a pullback long here off of 275.90. Looking for a pullback long here, 275.90 on Apple. And then AMD. So now I'm looking for a pullback long off of 209.25. There's a lot of things setting up this morning. Like this morning pre-market looks really good. It looks really, really good. So we're gonna be patient, right? We're not gonna jump the gun. If AMD wants to do something like this, if it wants to do something like this, that's fine because this is my no trade zone anyway. And then do that, that's solid. Looking for that. If it wants to, do something like this, right? Little pullback, base, and then buy step up aggressively. I like that too. I was looking for it yesterday. It happened so fast. You just got an instant pop and fade. So I'll see. If we get an instant dip and rip. I hope we don't. Like I said, I don't trade that first 2 minute candle, but history likes to repeat itself. Let me zoom out here. The same play that I'm looking for now is the exact same play that happened on what was this, Monday. So let me go back here on Monday just so I can show you. Franklin retest over the same key level. Look at that. Break, good displacement. Retest is here. Like I said on Monday, this was just a very aggressive entry. I didn't like it, but on a technical standpoint, we did get that break and retest. Actually, let me thin this out. Sorry, give me one sec. There we go. That's much better. So we already got this set up here on Monday. Break and retest over our 209.25. So coming into today, that's what I'm looking for here. And like I said, another reason why I really like it is not only is it a key level being respected, we're over the previous day high. We're over the previous day high. I like that. So price is likely to continue higher. So we'll see. But as of right now, these are pretty much my close watch. It's definitely going to be Tesla. NVIDIA, it's going to be a side watch. I'm just going to have my alert set because like I said, if we're under 184.50, I'm not even touching this. And then of course it's Apple um, and AMD. So we'll see what happens. If Apple wants to just rally to the upside, I'm going to replace Apple with QQQ and I'm going to look for that. But remember, the break and retest happens on everything. So, we got the breakout here on the daily. We just need a retest. Hope that makes sense. So I'm just looking for a pullback long, dip and rip, however you want to call it, on Apple. Kind of the same thing on AMD. I'm just looking for this. You can see here, we got the break yesterday, straight upside, but we never got the retest. So that's what I'm looking for here on Apple. All right, we got about 1 minute here till market opens. So QQQ and SPY looks really good. So we'll be looking at 612.80, pull back long here, 209.25 for AMD. And then we do got some ways to go. Right now, Tesla's opening up at, 424, and we got to pull all the way back down to 419. So I'll see if we get that. And then, I'm watching Apple as well. Today's Wednesday. Yeah. Let's see. Apple again. Need this 2-minute counter to close here. Trading my chart here, not my P&L. I was up 10% there, but I don't really care about that. I can see a lot of wicks right here. So there are sellers sitting there. Was up there at the high day, but I'd rather just take the L. Trading my chart, not my P&L. Looking for the bigger move. Yep. 10% left. This is my new stop loss here. Nice. Beautiful. 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 Right off the pre-market plan. Right off the pre-market plan. Right off the pre-market plan. Okay, so stop loss is here. I got 5 left. I just want to see what happens. Beautiful day. 5,200. Solid. Right off the pre-market plan. Pull back long. It's exactly what we were looking for. Stop loss on the rest is 210.97. I only have 5 left, so quick work there. Solid day. Solid day. Nice. What a day. I'm always gonna leave some runners, see how far that thing can go. Right off the pre-market plan. Super solid. That was over 20%. What a trade. What a trade. That was nice. All right, playing a trade, trade your plan. We pretty much got in at the bottom. We did get in at the bottom. When I saw Qs do that and it shot up, I knew I had the overall market behind me. I took my shot. We were able to hold that entire push. We kept pushing to the high day. I ignored that. Why? Because I'm looking for the bigger move. I don't care about my P&L. I don't trade my P&L. But you can see, right? I mean, look at these two that are in sync. This is a great buy here if you're able to get this on Tesla. Bottom of the range. You would let this candle close, see what the next candle does. If it has momentum, your risk is right under the lower day. So what I'm trying to teach you is I see my risk is this much to make this much. See what I mean? I don't know if you heard me. I'm muted, but I said something on Tesla, right? I would want to see this hold, and I'm trying to teach you risk to reward. You would risk right under this lower day. So you're risking not much to make this much. It's super solid. If you caught this on AMD, right? You pulled the trigger, you're very patient. We followed our rules here. I didn't wait for you. You know I don't trade the first 2 minutes. I don't like trading the first 2 minutes. So even here, when I saw strong buyers step up and this went to a hammer stick candle, I took my shot. We kept seeing some resistance here at this high day. And right, we got that whole momentum push. So super solid trade here. Plan your trade, trade your plan, I'm sorry, plan your trade your plan. Solid. So this looks really good on Tesla. Really good. That's the pullback long you were looking there. Right, you would risk right under the lower day. You guys know I'm big on one and done. That looks really good. And I'm seeing divergence here against the Qs. Dang, Tesla looks good. Okay, so far 2 for 2 on the pre-market plans. AMD is still holding this 209. AMD is still holding that 209. One thing I love about Tesla is it moves so well on the dollar amount. It's like you can scalp this thing and like easily make what 10, 13%. So to me, this would be like worth the risk if I were to take this, right? Because you're risking under the lower day. But see, look at Qs and then look at everything else. The only name I really feel like that just has clear divergence is as we know, Apple. Apple strong. Let's see what the video is doing. Right? As long as video is under 184, I'm not touching it. Solid day though. Solid day. That was a big win. Big win. Right? Go watch the weekly recap. That's why I say you can't focus on like having a red day or a red week because you have to think of your next 100 trades. Right? This one win wiped out all of last week. I really hope that makes sense. Right? Less is more. Always have to think long term. So very quick work day. We're only what 13 minutes into market open, roughly. Yeah. So good way to go into the Thanksgiving break. Yeah, Tesla's holding this 419.10. It really is. That was a big push there on AMD, right? To get a 20% trade like that. We were um we were actually up more, but you know me. I like to leave a little runner after I get the majority of the move just to see, right? Just to see how far this thing can go. So I'm very happy with that. That was solid. Right, like you heard me say, like I'd rather just take the L instead of selling to the high day because I'm always focused on RR. You get what I mean? Like that was um that was a pretty decent trade, right? Like over 20%. So to me, I'm looking at this as like I'd rather just take the L and get stopped out here because I don't want to sell here. Then it's a 1-to-1. You know what I mean? I'd rather just say, all right, cool. This is a good loss because if I would have won this trade, I would have made X amount. So I was hoping we can kind of get this continuation push all the way up into 214. Technically, it's still holding 219.25, but right, that's solid. This was 2 minutes, 4 minutes in the market open. Just got to read the price action. I don't care if I'm wrong, right? That's why I have a stop loss. It's all probabilities, but I knew this was a high probability setup because we were also over the previous day high. I broke that down pretty thoroughly. So look at Tesla, man. Tesla's solid. You're already up like $3 from entry, right? This is beautiful. Like you get a hammer stick candle and a retest here. You wait for this candle, see what the momentum does. Tesla looks really, really good. Let's see. I never really care about I never really care about leaving or like I never look back on a trade and think, oh man, I could have made X amount. Because I know, right, if my runners go, this thing's really gonna run. So, right, I mean this is a 20% trade, but I'm gonna leave runners. And you can see at one point we were at 5,400. Like, that's solid. We were at 5,400 bucks. So I mean that's a really good trade. Yeah. One sec. All right, so that's extra, $700. But I don't care about that because like if your runners can continue, they can make you a big amount. So I ended up scaling, let's see my executions. Let's see. I know I sold 90% of my position at the high day, and then I had 10 left. Yeah, this was my 90% sell, and then I had 10 contracts left. So I sold five here, and then I sold the other five here. So super solid, right? I don't look at this as dang, I could have made X amount. No, no, no. Like you don't know how much you're gonna make unless you're in the trade and you get that whole move. But super solid. Very happy with that. And right off the pre-market plan. Entry time. Oh wow, that was an aggressive entry. Yeah, I waited for the 2 minute candle to close. So we got in not even a full 3 minutes after market opens. Right? Not even a full 3 minutes after market opens. But like I said, when I saw Qs rip to the upside, that's what really compelled me to take that shot. So look at Tesla. Pull back long off of 419. If you caught that, you were nice right now. Right off the pre-market plan. That is like just better price action too. It's just way better price action. Like see, there's no any of this and then that and then we fall and then that again. No, just like pull back, hammer stick candle, body of the candle close, momentum push to the upside. Right? That is textbook. You're risking this much to make this much. Especially on Tesla, right? You're gonna be up. Like you're up nice right now, even if this doesn't get all the way up here. Right. So what do we have? We have AMD, Apple, NVIDIA, and Tesla. So out of our four tech names, two of these set up. We had AMD set up and then we had Tesla set up. NVIDIA, right? You're not touching that because we're under 184. And then Apple, we never got the pullback. Now, someone asked me a little tip that I'll share. Someone asked me like, "Hey, Kel, when you come into the day," and this is actually a pretty common, I wouldn't say problem, but a lot of people deal with this more than I realize. They don't know how many to have on their close watch list, right? So me, I try and only have two to three. I'm a little bit more advanced. Like I feel like I work better under pressure. So I got monitors to my left and right. So sometimes I'm able to look at all four tech names at once, but I don't recommend it. So normally what I do is how I only focus on certain stocks is if they're opening up around my key level, right? If they're opening up around your key level, you focus on it because you're not taking a trade if it's not around your key level, right? If it's not around a key level, it's all noise. So when it's opening up around my key level, I'm thinking, okay, this is an opportunity. So today, um, while I was AMD, right? Go look at every live trading session. When do I ever have AMD in the center? Never. So why was AMD in the center today? Because we were sitting right above our key level and we're above the previous day high. So I knew I was looking for a dip and rip on this. Yesterday we got the pop and fade, but it happened so aggressively, I wasn't able to get that trade. So AMD today, it's like, okay, cool. If I can get a dip and rip, a pullback long off of 209.25, I'm taking that shot. Because this is all the pre-market right here, right? So it's opening up near my key level. I know I'm just looking for this. Buy should step up, push this thing higher. Tesla. Tesla's always going to be on my close watch list because I know Tesla's just going to pay me X amount. Like if I took this trade on Tesla versus, here on AMD, if AMD made me over 20%, what do you think Tesla's going to make me? You get what I mean? So we know Tesla moves the best on the underlying compared to pretty much everything else. So, if AMD went from 209 to 212, which actually is a very big move, and then remember those contracts went into the money because I played a strike price out of the money, what do you think Tesla's paying you from here all the way up to the high day, right? This is 419. The high day is 425. See what I mean there? So Tesla's just always going to be on my close watch, but I hope that helps on how I determine what am I going to give my undivided attention on. Um, QQQ, right? Q's is sitting here today on the close watch. Not the best price action, not at all. But the reason I had Q's here is why we opened up right under my key level here. I was looking for a break and retest here. But this trade's clean. The reason I like it, just because I'm teaching you as well, right? When we got up into this high day push, I was up like 10%, roughly 10% at this high day. I'm not trading my P&L. I don't care about that because I know if we can get above this high day, this thing can run. So you hear me say, I'd rather just accept the L. I'd rather just take the L, right? Because then it's a 1-to-1. But I know if I get over this thing can really run. So would have been nice if we pushed up to 214.85 key level to key level. You can see it's still trying to defend and hold, this 209.25. It's still holding this. It's definitely defending this. This is something you kind of have to look at now, like on the 5 minute. And then I know how AMD is, right? Like I know the price action isn't always going to be like Tesla. You know what I mean? So look at right, Tesla and the Qs. Right, look at this candle, those two candles. Look at this. Look at these two candles, and then look at this candle forming, right? So these are things that I'm looking at when I'm trying to spot divergence on a name. So I just broke this down yesterday. The only reason I took this shot here on AMD is because Qs exploded right through this key level. So in my mind, I'm already like, okay, cool. I got the overall market behind me. I have the overall market behind me, so I'm taking the shot. Very quick day here. Let's see, 419.23. Yeah, all this makes sense, right? I mean, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, true, because I did take it on this candle, so technically this candle wasn't closed. But I follow my rule, right? I don't take that first 2 minute candle. It's an aggressive entry, but I plan my trade. I traded my plan. I trust in my level, and I don't care if I lose because my safety net is 209.25. My thesis is incorrect if we fall under here, right? So plan your trade, trade your plan, and accept the risk. I don't ever trade from like a right or wrong perspective, because my performance is not based on being right or wrong, right? Today, or every day, like the way I execute is what makes you a good trader, right? Like following your rules, being disciplined. That's what makes you a good trader. It's not win or losses. It can't be. So I hope those things like make sense when I explain it, because your performance can't be based on wins or losses if it's all a random outcome. You know what I mean? Like it's a random outcome. Our job is to find like the highest probability setups, but I can't judge you based off of random outcome. That's why I always say you got to think over the next 100 trades. But I can judge you based on, well, this person doesn't follow the rules. They do follow the rules. Oh, this loss could have been avoided, but you forced a trade, or this was a trade that wasn't in your system. So, I mean, this is solid, right? You got a push here from 419.10 to 423. That's really solid. And then no surprise here because we just right. It's pre-market high. I don't trade off these levels, but I use them as context references. So I mean, we can see there's just a lot of wicks in here, a lot of wicks in here. So it looked pretty promising, when we got that big breakout there. You definitely got paid here on Tesla, even if you didn't hold this all the way up into the high day. So this week's is just one of those weeks where outside of Apple, there's really been like look at Q's this wick being bought up, and then look at these wicks being bought up. I'm sorry that I didn't post a live trading session yesterday for you guys. I thought I did. Sometimes when I'm really busy, I'll upload it and then I'll schedule it, and it automatically do it itself. But I guess it didn't yesterday, so my apologies for that. But that's what I've been noticing. Really this week is outside of Apple, there's really no divergence on these names. Whatever Q's is doing, that's what these names are doing. So I tried to explain that in the pre-market game plan coming into today. uh, yeah, solid day. And hmm, so I already have a I already have this lessons video for options, picking the right contracts coming out. Very excited for that. Very excited for that. That's gonna be a good one. People don't realize that picking the right contracts is more than half the trade. It's wild. My trading really took off years ago once I started to focus and learn option contracts and how to utilize them. Like trading options, man. Like if you know what you're doing and you know how to like leverage it, options are, man, they're amazing, right? Like just you can ruin the perfect setup by just picking the wrong contracts, right? That's how powerful those contracts are. So the way that I pick contracts varies on the day of the week, right? Versus the Monday and Tuesday. It depends on the stock price that I'm trading. Because on average, Tesla can move $15 to $20 in a day. So I can play three strike prices out of the money on Tesla because I know the likelihood of that getting into the money is higher compared to Apple, right? But I'll explain all that. But that's gonna be a good video. I'm really excited for that one. I think that's gonna help a lot of you out as well, right? The delta, understanding that. I'm sure a lot of you have heard me say like, oh, I'm not gonna take this trade on Apple because the delta is like under 30, right? So those things are risk management. Picking the right contracts, those all fall under risk management, the right strike prices, understanding the day of the week. Thursdays and Fridays, I'm playing defense. It's pretty much nothing left going on. Yeah, if this had set up, you had to take that shot. Had to take that shot. You guys know I'm pretty big on being one and done, especially after a win. It's funny. I was talking to my little sister about that, and she was like, I think that's like a strength of yours, but it's also a weakness, and it's true, right? We all have some things to work on in our trading, and for me personally, that's something that I do try and work on. It's like even though I took a winning trade, if I see another setup occur, I just don't take it. And as Mark Douglas teaches, there's no correlation between the trades, but that's something I'm really trying to work on. It's like, hey, I got another setup. Let me take if it's a setup in my system, I got to take that shot. You know what I mean? So, but me, I'm very big on being one and done. Like less is more. That's just me, right? So it's very rare for me to take, a winning trade and then take another trade in a day. Very rare. right? But we all got to know our strengths and weaknesses. We all have strengths and weaknesses. So for me, it's that. So that's something I'm definitely trying to work on. So the thing about cues right now, I'll go here to cues, give you a better little visual, is it's actually still above the previous day high. Still above it. History repeats itself. We know the 61280 is such a key level here. We know it's such a key level here. Let's go on the daily. Look at that. Every time. Look at the daily. Every time we push into this, every single time we get a wick. Right? This was a shot that I took last Thursday. You can see almost a week later, same thing happening again. So eventually, right? Eventually, it's holding though. It's definitely holding. You can see it's the previous day high and the pre-market low. Yeah, pre-market starts at 1 a.m. We come back again at 4:15, and then we're holding it now intraday. So it's solid. Might be a squeeze here on Tesla, as we know. If we're above 410, we're bullish bias anyway. Now the thing about Tesla, really all this depends on how this daily candle closes today. But so the thing about Tesla, right, is now, right? Because the way we were playing this was a little different. We're getting at the bottom of the range. But now, right, let's say it holds this today. We're just back in here. We're just back in here. So it'd be really cool. Just this is kind of how I'm thinking. Because now we're less. It's almost a year, right? If you remember, you've been with me for a while. I've been breaking this down thoroughly on Tesla. We haven't gotten above 466.50 since really here. So look at the bottom left, 12/17/2024. So that'd be cool. It's less than a month away. If year on the dot, a year on the dot, we ended up breaking over this 466.50. We'll see. We're above 410, so we're back to being bullish bias. You can see each day we're moving higher here. So I'm curious to see how today's daily candle will close, but it's no surprise, right? This 419, I just broke this down. I kept saying it's so hard for us to get a daily candle close above here, right? Every time we push up into this, we reject. So you really wanted to see, this on Tesla today, right? We open up here. You would want to see that. It's exactly what you want to see, right? Just stay over here. Just continue to move higher, right? You want to be in a trade down here before we get back up here. All right, so you guys remember I just have posted, not just have posted, but it was last week. I posted the reclaim video and how to play the reclaim. So if you know your bullish bias and you're looking to go long or short over a level, on a name like this, you can play the reclaim with the momentum. Why? Because we actually did have buyers defend this, right? We actually did have buyers defend this and push this thing higher. So you got the break and retest, you got the pullback long. Then we failed. So if you reclaim this with momentum, you can take that reclaim. I hope that makes sense because your stop loss is going to be the exact same. Your stop loss is the exact same. If anything, sometimes I'm sure you've heard the saying like it's also known for like maybe the 84% rule, but sometimes the reason the reclaim is a better entry because now you have, price has developed and now you can kind of see where structure is a little bit. You can kind of readjust your stop loss. See, like I'm okay with this being my stop loss versus at open, my stop loss was like, okay, it's really just a lower day. I'm risking this much at the lower day, right? At a very tight stop loss. It's just right on the lower day because I know quick if I'm wrong. Versus now, if you play the reclaim with momentum, you're like, okay, now I know what structure is a little bit. I can set my stop loss at candle close under here, target in here. Kind of hope that makes sense. But quick day here. We're pretty much just gonna seems like we're chopping around. Um, Let me go to a couple of these names really quick. Yeah, nothing on Apple. Still haven't got that pullback. And then NVIDIA. Yeah, nothing on NVIDIA, right? Because it's just in a channel on the daily. So I don't really like that. Let's look at some side watches really quick. AMD looked really good yesterday. Someone caught AMD off this key level. I know I didn't put it in the pre-market plan, but someone had the key levels from when I did. And you can see like beautiful here. I'm sorry, on Amazon, not AMD, Amazon. Amazon looks really good, right? Good displacement, high a day. That's exactly what you want to see. Pull back here, buyer step up. As long as you're above 226, your thesis is correct. All this is noise. You ended up getting this push into the high day. And how do you know when a name is start to trend? When the dips are getting bought up. So we turn this high day into support, and this thing shot higher. So super cool. Kudos to you for catching that trade. But Amazon looked really good yesterday. I mean, look at this, 223.80 all the way up to here. It's off a weekly level. So now I'm really intrigued. We pushed through the high day, good displacement, retest, beautiful. That's all textbook. That's all textbook. Right? Key level on the dot does its job during pre-market. We reject 231. So inside bar day here on Amazon, nothing I would really touch. But something I've been noticing here on Amazon, I know a couple of people trade this. Look at this. This thing's trending. This thing is trending. We kind of got over this weekly, right? Down here. This thing is trending. Right? This is each day. This is each day. This thing is just in a straight uptrend. Look at that. That is beautiful. That's exactly what you want to see here. Now, I told you, right? I'm really intrigued on this name. If we can get over 236, right? This is the weekly time frame. So let me go. Let me maybe go here. Okay, perfect. So remember I said, on the weekly, we're just in a channel right now, right? We trended higher, consolidation. So I want to see. Give me one sec. Sorry, give me one sec. I want to see, right? Us break over this, turn this weekly channel. You can see here into support. So see the visual here, right? We moved higher. There's just consolidation. So that's why I said you can go long or short here on Amazon as long as you're in between 236 and 217. But I want to see, this channel, like I always teach you, this channel turn, right, into support. Target in here. That is clean. That's very clean. I don't trade Amazon much, but I do like it. The spreads are tight and it just respects its key levels perfectly. I mean, look at this. On the dot, yesterday, beautiful break and retest. This thing's trending higher. So super cool here. Right, we're not that. You see, I have an alert here. We get over 236. Right, that's a big entry there. That's the breaker structure. We're now bullish bias on the same. So right now we're neutral. Right now we're neutral, but this looks really, really good. I mean, this thing, the trend your front, right? We're noticing that. It looks super solid. And then if this thing can set up maybe Thursday or I'm sorry, Friday or Monday, that looks good because now you're over this high. This is the weekly high. This is the high of the week. You can see since we've opened on Monday, we've just moved higher. We're trending higher ever since last week. Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, solid. This is a weekly level. So what happens on last Thursday? We just pull back. We ended up defending this thing, got squeezed, right? If you took a short under this, that's a valid because you are bearish bias if you fall under this. So that was a valid shot. You can see it worked out. It ended up being a bear trap, a squeeze. Good displacement, right? Retest here, and then this thing just started to trend higher. It started to trend higher. So Amazon looks really, really good. Google, let's see what Google looks like. Dude, Google's strong, but we knew Google was strong when Warren Buffett bought like $14 billion worth of shares. Like that alone was going to push this thing higher. This thing just still keeps gapping up. Like this is a gap fill here. So on Google, you're really just waiting for one of these. Really just waiting for one of these, targeting that. That's super solid. You can see here, it's a key level. You're just waiting for that. But Google's just been out of play for a while. But look left. Like, look at these dailies. Like, at one point, Google was just moving very nice. I feel like this is how it goes with some stocks like this. Like, no one's really paying it any attention, and it does this forever for the majority of the year, right? No one's really thinking about it. Like I said, I think out of every stock I traded, I think I made the most from Google this year, which is pretty funny. And then, right, we started to consolidate, next leg higher, consolidate, next leg higher, right? This is market structure I'm teaching you. So we trended forever, right? I mean, this is June, right? August, July. No, I'm sorry. This is June, July, August. Yeah. So June, July, August, 3 months, just pretty much straight upside. And then we ended up gapping up. You can see here, ended up gapping up. That's a big gap. Moved higher again, consolidation, which is normal, rocketed again, consolidation, and then we gapped up again. So on a technical analysis standpoint, Google looks super good as well. You're kind of just waiting to kind of just get back into play, to be honest. Nothing for me up here. If I enter up here, I'm late to the party, but Google looks solid. Right, AMD's holding this 209 for sure. You're bullish bias on Tesla as long as you're above 410. So something for me on Tesla is like, if I want to play this again, I guess I would just kind of hope the daily kind of closes under 419. I doubt it will though, because Q's is holding this previous day low and we're bullish on the overall market. But like I said, now in Tesla, I would just be looking for pullback longs off this 419. But if we do hold this and get a daily, now we're just back in here. Now we're just back in here. So we'll see. Let's see. Weekly looks good. I mean, it's only been 3 days, but look at this weekly candle. We basically recovered from last week. Right, there's some resistance in here, but so far this weekly candle looks really good. Really, really good. Depending on how this candle closes today, give me one sec. This kind of just, these are how I build my thesis off the higher time frames, and I'm just getting an idea and context of what the overall market is doing. So, looking at Tesla, depending on how this candle closes today, every single day has been I mean, look at this. This is Monday candle, right? And then it's followed up by a hammer stick candle on Tuesday. So buyers, we got that pullback off of 410 yesterday. Remember that we got the pullback off of 410, but the price action was trash, so we skipped it. So we'll see. If this closes green today and we can hold over this 419, that's 3 days, just straight upside. The weekly candle looks really good right now. But yeah, hope this helps. Hope you guys are able to learn something. I will see you guys Friday. I'll see you Friday. I'll put out a pre-market game plan tomorrow, but just remember, like, Friday is a half day. So statistically speaking, it's not a lot of volume on those days. So don't force anything on Friday. For me, today's like the last day of the month. Technically it is. It's the last real trading day of the month. So let's see. Yeah, but see what I mean here on the reclaims? Like, that'd be pretty cool. I'm curious if AMD can get back towards this high day. Right, there's a lot of resistance in here on the intraday, sitting around this 211. But solid reclaim, over 209. We're already at 211. Right, so maybe just a little bear trap here. You're not looking to go short. It's under 209 is our no trade zone. But I'm glad we were able to get a live example of like what I mean on play the reclaim. And you'll do the same thing here on Tesla. Like, if this reclaims with momentum, you would take that. It's the same stop loss. If anything, you can rearrange how you want to set up your stop loss in a better position actually. But you can see Tesla did pull back. Buyers held at 419. We pushed this up to 423. Yeah, we pushed this up to 423. Cube is holding its previous day high here at 610.26. Kind of just a chop right now for the Qs and SPY. But AMD looks good on this reclaim. It does. We already got almost a $2 move. That's not even bad. So let's see. Yeah, if you play one strike price out of the money, 410. Price already got up to 410. So yeah, that was a good entry. If you ever get this reclaim, that was solid. That was a good another setup there. No doubt at all. But yeah, I'll see you guys Friday.